They thought the truth would never surface. They thought the shadows they hid in would stay dark forever, but something's happening. Something big. Cash Patel just dropped a breadcrumb trail, and Dan Bongino is already on the hunt. And when the curtain falls, names will be named, because this isn't the only story. We're discussing the infamous January 6th pipe bomber that many won't rest until the mystery is solved. No, we go further than that. Into the real Russiagate saboteurs, the January 6th bomber. All the roads are converging, and justice, it's no longer a question. It's now a promise, and I will bring you everything that just broke loose just over the last few days. And DC is set to explode, and it suddenly makes a whole lot of other stories make a whole lot of sense, doesn't it? And I'll tie it together for you here in just 1 minute. Let's start here first. I guess Mike Johnson kind of did something. No, don't fall over. Trump's big beautiful bill passes key House hurdle after GOP rebel mutiny. Republicans aim to deliver the bill to President's desk by 4th of July using budget reconciliation process. Well, it passed the committee. Now we'll go to the floor. But there's a lot of negotiating still going on, so this story isn't over yet, but many stories not over yet. Imminent danger of retribution. January 6 prosecutors endangered by Trump administration official plans to name and shame them. Oh, you knew this was going to come out, didn't you? I don't know if you heard this audio recording of Ed Martin.
But we have to be serious about it, just like we have to be serious about getting to the truth. There are some really bad actors, some people that did some really bad things to the American people. And if they can be charged, we'll charge them. But if they can't be charged, we will name them. And we will name them. And in a culture that respects shame, they should be people that are shamed.
Uh-oh. Wonder what Ed Martin dug up. It appears a lot of people digging up a lot of stuff now, and many feeling their rights were intruded upon, and I'm not saying that they're wrong. Ed Martin's just going to legally prove it, and that's going to be a very hefty price for many folks, and he's not going to relent. But he's not going to relent. Cash Patel's not going to relent, and Dan Bongino's not going to relent, who now say they uncovered new information pertaining to the Russiagate hoax, and accountability is coming. You know what they mean by that? I mean, the president released this. You remember this memorandum on declassification of certain materials related to FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Trump did this for a very good reason. It's a story I'll bring you in full version here, right after a quick break and a quick favor. First, I want you to make sure you're subscribed to the channel. It's very important because it's amazing how people just disappear. So make sure you're still subscribed. If you're new here, welcome home. We're going to be kicking this into the full-length podcast over at restrictedrepublic.com, as I always do, because I have an audio recording involving the California fertility clinic bombing that you need to hear. It's a recording that really gets you into the mind of who is now alleged to be the maniac behind it. I'll be playing that later. Make sure you're subscribed. And also, I want you to go to a very special sponsor of mine. I want you to go to JustusKnightGold.com. Here's the page you'll see, JustusKnightGold.com. Very special announcement today, because here's the hard truth. Every 6 years, your dollar loses half its buying power. That's $100,000 in savings today. So I want you to go to JustusKnightGold.com or call 877-646-5347. That was 877-646-5347, or simply look in the description box below and you'll get all the details. Because that $100,000 in savings today could feel like $50,000 by 2031. But guess what? There's a way to protect and preserve your money. It's gold. Noble Gold Investments makes it easy to own gold or silver. No pressure, no call centers, just honest one-on-one support. If you open a qualified account today, you get a free 10-ounce silver American flag bar. Remember, there's always a risk to investing, no guarantees, but if anyone can see you through it, it's Noble Gold Investments. Go to JustusKnightGold.com today, and thank you for sponsoring this video. But now let's get back. Maybe you remember this. Trump puts out the executive order. I want this information released in a mass hurry before his departure after his first term. The U.S. government is hiding documents that incriminate I'm sorry. See how I did that? Freudian slip, I guess. Incriminate intelligence community for illegal spying and election interference. It goes on. Just read the subtitle there. Former CIA Director Gina Haspel blocked the release of the binder with evidence that may identify her role in the Trump-Russia collusion hoax. And that binder takes center stage, doesn't it? Because a lot would say that was the Mar-a-Lago raid. That was the one bit of information they're looking for because it named names. And guess who has it now? Guess who's digging into the details of it? But first, an expose claimed a mysterious binder of highly classified information related to Russia election interference went missing in the chaotic waning days of Donald Trump's presidency in January of 2021, raising concerns that some of America's most closely guarded national security secrets could be exposed. Come on. No, it was the names within it that could have been exposed. Closely guarded national secrets. CNN and its intelligence sources meant exposure in a bad way. Sources have told Public and Racket, however, secret officials worry might be exposed are the ones that would implicate them in widespread abuses of intelligence authority dating back to the 2015-2016 election season. I would call the binder Trump's insurance policy. He was very concerned about having it and taking it with him because it was the roadmap of Russiagate. Now, who do you think's looking into that a lot deeper? You think these guys, maybe? Well, they tell you.
I was the lead Russiagate investigator for the House Intelligence Committee, and I've been on both your shows in a prior life talking about it. And I'm telling you and the American public that we have now found material and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And we, as the deputy said, we are trying to do it in a fashion where not only are we informing the American public of what happened, but we can have accountability for it.
Now, if you heard that, that was Maria Bartiromo's show. I'm telling you in the American public that we have found materials and information and people who wanted to hide it from the world since we got in these seats. And if they are going to litigate those people, they have to do it carefully. Dot every I, cross every T, because these folks find a way to get out of everything, don't they? But if you think that was it, no, they went on even further.
Look, I can speak to the folks that were in our seats, our predecessors, and they intentionally failed the American public by putting on the biggest DC deception game we've ever seen. But when the likes of Comey and McCabe and Strzok and company came in here with the James Bakers of the world and intentionally lied to a federal court and using taxpayer dollars, likely illegally, to fund this entire operation and then withhold exculpatory information from a federal court, that's what broke the FBI.
Major accusation there. And you heard him. Comey, McCabe, and Strzok intentionally lied to a federal court. Intentionally lied. That is a monster accusation. So now suddenly does this make a little bit more sense? And the timing of why Comey did it? Just stitching everything together for you here. But that was only a portion of the story of what was released. Because all of us have always questioned the January 6th pipe bomb. And don't worry, I didn't forget about Epstein. He's just not going to take center focus because they made a very controversial statement that Epstein committed suicide. A lot disagreeing with that. But we're going to stick on this for right now. Because everyone wanted to know what happened with that footage. But if you were paying attention, that footage was re-released. There's been some question, and I'm just going to play it in the background here without volume because it's not necessary, of why the footage from 2021, remember, didn't have the other camera angle. So the FBI releases the other camera angle, showing clearly, and if you look in this area, just going to draw it out for you. Hopefully I got that in the right mode. Right in this area here, you'll see there is nothing there. And you notice these footages aren't timed because they're not filming in the same clip rate. Just putting that very simply. I know you techies will kill me for that. But nonetheless, again, watch the area and watch what happens in one moment here. There you go. This area right here, I want you to keep an eye on for. There's nothing there. But in a minute, suddenly you have the camera angle and the evidence to show you that now suddenly there is something there. And what is that? Well, that would be the pipe bomb. And the bomb was placed at 7:54 p.m. And I think that's fairly conclusive for me, but we're not done. Outside all the 4 years later, examining the state of the investigation, all we care about is who was it and why weren't they identified. I'll go back to Patel and Bongino.
To get to the bottom of something like January 6th and the pipe bomber case, for example, you need three things. You need people, you need information, and you need people with information. I'll allow the public to put that together.
And you need people with information. Now, if you've listened to Dan Bongino, I have for many years, he is very careful. He doesn't want to blow his own investigation. He doesn't want to blow Patel's investigation. This is on their desk, and it appears now, well, they have people who have information. Remember, they just promoted Steve Jensen, who a lot of people disagreed with, stating that Jensen actually fought back against the FBI, fought back against the establishment, although he was involved in the J6 investigations. Well, maybe, is it possible that Jensen knows who those people are? And they promoted him to get this story out because we are now getting closer to the full reveal. They're telling you what they're going to do. They're very good about doing that, and they haven't stopped. But now, all of a sudden, Comey coming out, putting out that Instagram post. None of this suddenly makes sense to you. Or now the announcement coming from former President Joe Biden. Last week, President Joe Biden was seen for a new finding of a prostate nodule after experiencing increased urinary symptoms. On Friday, he was diagnosed with prostate cancer characterized by a Gleason score of 9, grade group 5, with metastasis to the bone. While this represents a more aggressive form of the disease, the cancer appears to be hormone sensitive, which allows for effective management. Now, I am very sensitive around cancer. I don't make fun of it, I don't make light of it, and I don't wish it on my worst enemy. Ever. However, we must be factual. This announcement just coming out, what is today, May 19th, coming out on May 18th. Wall Street Journal announcing it. Biden diagnosed with metastatic prostate cancer. Horrible announcement for anyone. But did you not hear? Because before we get to these clips, I just want to frame this in a little bit further. Let me find it for you. It's right there. Prostate cancer is the easiest cancer to diagnose. These presidents have meticulous medical examinations. Meticulous. When it first starts and to watch its progress to the bone metastasize. The PSA blood test shows the rate of cancer cell growth. For even the most aggressive form, it is a 5 to 7 year journey without treatment before it makes it this far. Meaning it would be malpractice for this patient to show up and be first diagnosed with the disease now, under a president of the United States who has meticulous medical treatment. It is highly likely he was carrying this diagnosis of prostate cancer throughout his White House tenure, and the American people were uninformed. And that is the truest element of any story outside of his announcement of cancer. Did he know before? Doctors claiming he would have had to. And Joe Biden mentioning in this clip here.
And because it was a 4-lane highway that was accessible, my mother drove us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening. You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer, and why I can't for the longest time.
People at the time saying it was a slip. Now you look back, that was in 2022, and start to view that clip slightly different. He wasn't the only one to state it, though, was he? Frank Biden told CBS News that his brother's health, in my humble opinion, absolutely contributed to his decision to bow out. But sources close to the Biden family, of course, said that he was an alcoholic and hasn't spoken to his brother in weeks. But he stated something else. I'm incredibly proud of my brother. Selfishly, I will have him back to enjoy whatever time we have left. Indications were there. People, of course, like everything else, ignored the indications. Joe Biden, this is from Tim Pool, has cancer to the bone. This is considered advanced. If he had the best medical care and screenings for 4 years, they'd have found it. And it means he likely had it since before dropping out. Democrats knew, but they knew a lot, didn't they? And now Bongino and Patel and everyone else in the system, looking deeper into the Democrats and those involved with so much outside of just covering Biden's health issues. As some had said, his memory issues. No, going deeper into issues surrounding January 6th, issues surrounding the pipe bomber, issues surrounding Russiagate. And the question, just another question in a long line of questions, had Biden been reelected, would we even be learning of the prostate cancer diagnosis? Because now questions abound that he knew during his presidency. But why would they ever tell us the truth, right? But I will tell you the truth of everything, because I'm going to kick this podcast into something far different. Because if all of this comes, even a portion of this comes out, either the January 6th pipe bomber or Russiagate and those involved, or the agents and the prosecution of those involved in J6, or we find out that Biden knew prior to his departure, all of this explodes DC immediately. And to tell me that all 4 of these, and if you want to add the Epstein files into it, 5 of these, none of them come out, that's not going to happen. I have faith in Patel and Bongino that something of those 5 is going to be released. And when it does, it changes the establishment forever. They wanted silence. There's about to be a reckoning. Until next time, remember, truth is it's the only weapon they fear. Is truth, more than anything else. They have fed us lies for so long, so the truth must stay loaded. And right now, Bongino and Kash Patel just took the truth weapon, loaded it fully, and said, we are preparing to fire. And when they do, man, our world is going to change immediately, and I cannot wait. Just like a little truth on this one that we're going to kick into now. If we go full-length version of this podcast, I'll probably put this on a separate tab. So if you go to Restricted Republic, just look for the next tab or my next series in the videos. This will be under exclusive content because an audio recording has been released. The words are eerie, to say the least. Psychotic in many ways. But don't believe for a minute this was anything more than absolute hate. And I'll play that here in a minute. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justus Knight, signing out.